welcome to everyone that has just joined us from the various fans and supporter groups. The start of this, I'm going to ask a few questions to Steve and Bobby, and then after that, I'll ask you to raise your hands, and then we'll start picking people at random to throw a couple of questions. So we are very lucky that both Bobby and Steve have joined us this evening. Obviously, Bobby has scored one of the most amount of goals for the club, only just recently overtaken by Glenn, which I'm sure he's livid about. And Steve obviously scored the most memorable goal of that promotion year, although it isn't the best goal in our social media campaign, Steve, so I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, well, if you want to go into it later on, then no problem. Really.
Who won it?
The final's next Sunday, I believe. So
I stopped watching after I got knocked out, if I'm honest.
There's a semi-final between Knockaert and Andoni. Their goals v Palace. And Ajawa versus Forest. And Pocagnoli versus QPR.
Oh,
okay, yeah.
Good ones.
But yeah, a bit of a shock that you got out, Steve. Obviously, you need to be further back.
Yeah. Next question.
So, Bobby, first of all, how are you faring at home in these strange circumstances?
Oh, wow. Week one, sweet. Okay, sunshine, so he's all right. This week's been a bit tough. The kids are getting to me a bit now, to be honest, and the weather ain't been great. And then there's all this, get the stuff ready for the kids back in school. Homeschooling is going to be carnage. But what can we do? Get on with it, 8. The kids might be put back a year or 2 after this, but we're all good. We're all good.
How about you, Steve?
To be fair, I've enjoyed it. We've been really good. We're obviously one of the lucky ones that's got a bit of space around us, so the kids can get out and stretch their legs. Obviously, the weather's been pretty kind to us, hasn't it? I mean, imagine if this was happening in October, November, where you can't do anything. It's getting dark at 4:30. That would obviously be difficult. But in terms of spending time with the kids and the wife and that, we've been good. I've enjoyed it. Obviously, having a career where you're up and down the country and in hotels and spending a lot of time away from them, it's nice to have a solid sort of couple of weeks with them. So, yeah, all good and all safe and all healthy, and I hope everyone else is out there as well.
We've got to take some positives out of it. I mean, it's nice looking up at the blue sky and seeing no planes flying overhead. So, undoubtedly, the CO2 and pollution levels are down. So, no doubt we're healing the world, eh?
And as people that have worked weekends for 20, 30 years, getting extra time with those kids, even if they are driving you mad at the moment.
Yeah, of course. Well, I've been retired a couple of years now, so they've been on me toes non-stop for a few years now. But no, it is nice. It is nice, of course.
So, Bobby, if you were still playing today, if you were still in the squad at this moment, what solution would you want in that situation in terms of how they end the season?
Yeah, I think you've got to play it out. Is my opinion. It's got to be done. For those teams that may go down, the teams that obviously Liverpool, they actually want to win it, not just giving it, and just the financial and legal ramifications of if it isn't seen out with the correct amount of games, I think it just open a huge can of worms. So whenever it can be finished, it will be finished, and hopefully it's like that. I think it's the only way it can be done, and I think that goes for all divisions. I know it's slightly harder, the financial part, certainly for a lot of the smaller clubs and in a few divisions down. But I think it has to be seen out. Just it's only fair then.
Steve, where do you sit on that side of the argument?
Do you know what? I think it's really difficult. I agree. I mean, we have to finish. You say you have to finish it. I mean, we're talking about having to finish a league when you got hundreds of people dying like every day. So when in the grand scheme of it there's no comparison. We get back to it when it's safe and secure and to do it. First of all, obviously we've got to beat it, the virus, and once we do that, then we can start talking about certain projects in place, because at the moment you can't talk about certain times when there's so much uncertainty going around at the moment. So first and foremost, we need to just make sure everyone's safe, well, healthy, abiding by the rules, and then put guidelines in, obviously, but then they're obviously just guidelines. They have to get put back if it's not safe to do so. So, but I think for fairness, you have to finish a season. That would be the best and most vital outcome. If we can't, everyone's going to have to adapt.
So there's a lot of sadness around at the moment due to the current situation. And when players retire as well, that only ever seems to get negative press about how hard it is. So I'd like to hear from both of you a positive story about retiring from football.
Oh, I've got one. It's fantastic. I mean, I love fishing, loved it, always have done. I retired in the summer, ended up going to the Amazon rainforest in September straight away, really. So I love my fishing, getting away and doing something that I really love as well. So it certainly frees up a bit of time to do other parts that you've certainly had interest in, or other passions that you have alongside football, but gives you the opportunity to focus on those and dedicate a bit more time. I think I can only talk for myself, but that first 6 months to a year when I retired really was just nice to just switch off and really enjoy some time with the family, and really enjoy, like you say, those passions and those other activities that you don't really get a chance to do so when you're fully focused for so many years on playing football.
And you, Steve?
Positives, really. I suppose the biggest positive is being able to just work, really. And it sounds strange, saying that, but I think that's where a lot of footballers, when they retire, that's where they struggle, when they have days where they're not doing anything. I mean, I've been quite lucky with the club offering me a role in terms of academy and ambassador, which I'm enjoying. And obviously on the flip side, on the other side to that, obviously the media work that I'm doing with BT and Sky and stuff. So I've been more busy now than I probably was when I was a player, which sounds mad to enjoy that, but I am one of them people that I can't sit indoors. I can't just do nothing. I've got to be out and about. I've got to be busy. I've got to be doing stuff. So I think that's just been a positive on a whole, that I've had opportunities to do that, really.
Is your wife annoyed because you told her when you retired everything will calm down? Yeah,
the retirement dream that I sold her, has gone right down the drain, mate. Really, I've had literally sort of not as many holidays as before, and taking kids out of school has obviously been difficult. But this is the real world. You know what I mean? As I say, footballers, the life that they live is a luxurious life. Now we're on the other side of the fence, and you know what? I'm loving it though. I'm enjoying it. It's good spending time with the family. I've got a good mixture of work and family time. So it's all good.
How long have you two actually known each other, and how much contact is there between you today?
Well, since I first come to Brighton, when I come on loan all them years ago with Dean, I think Bob's. I didn't know you before, did I? Didn't play against you before that.
So we were a couple of years difference, isn't there? So
yeah,
we didn't play against each other as kids or anything. Come on loan. So you were like myself, really, young lad, new club, go and get some experience, and just absolutely clicked, didn't we? Really, similar sort of banter.
Yeah.
Always up for a laugh and a joke. So we hit it off for sure. Few nights out, few bits of blood on the dance floor and all that, mate. Couple of crazy nights. We've had some fun, eh, boy?
That was all in a short space of time as well, because I sort of come on loan, didn't I? I think I was only there for 10, 11 games, wasn't I? And then obviously I went to Reading, and then and then we kept in contact when I went to Reading, and then we met up in the summer for England under 20s or under 21s. It might have been straight away. And then I think Bob's went to Spurs after that. And then we just literally kept in contact the whole time, nights out. Obviously, we've got the partners involved and was going out for dinners, and that's continued like to now with all the kids and stuff. We speak to each other regularly, meet up, and that as much as we can. So Bob's has been one of my best pals.
Bobby, you were at Fulham first, weren't you? Before Steve. Yeah, basically, I double as his agent. I've never taken any commission off it though, but I've doubled as his agent. I've made him the player that he is. Certainly, obviously, when he come to Brighton, I don't know, how many goals did you get on that loan period?
I'm not counting, but I think it was 5 and 11. Was
it? How many did I set up? About 4, wasn't it? Something like that. Burnley. Yeah, it's a good couple. Yeah.
As far as agents go, he was the smoothest criminal out there. 100%. He was a joke. It was unbelievable.
Oh, that is bad. Then I went to Fulham. Yeah, I was at Fulham, and pestered Mark Hughes, but Mark knew Siddy, and Eddie obviously had Sid at Arsenal as well, so it was quite easy to drop him in every day, 4 times a day, until he signed him. But you know the player you're going to get when you get Siddy anyway, so it's not a hard decision. Came along to Fulham, and we met up and had a good 2 seasons. 2 seasons.
Yeah, 2 seasons I think it was. Yeah.
2 seasons there. So
you both ended up back at Brighton towards the end of your careers. I don't know if you actually ever got on the pitch at the same time though. The second spell, did you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Did we not? Surely we did.
If I thought about it earlier, I would have researched it, but I just thought about it then.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Do you know what? I remember the last time we was together. We was both on the bench together, and I remember warming up, and I remember Bob saying, because I think he was near enough done then. I think he was had to have the operation, and Bob was like, "This is my last game. This is going to be my last one because I can't do it after this." I don't know whether you come on in that game or not, but
Colin Calderwood, didn't he? He asked us to warm up. Hull we played on a Tuesday night in the FA Cup, or in the Cup, and I'd played on the Saturday, so Tuesday was way too much for me. I think we was down, and Colin said, can you go and warm up? And I hadn't warmed up first half, and gone out at half time and done a little something, but I was really struggling. And I said to Colin, last 10 minutes, I said, I can't do it. And that was the, that's when I was like, I can't play football anymore if I can't. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And wheel myself out for 10 minutes. So that's when I was like, I need the operation and just to get in and get it done. So yeah.
So you're quite similar to me in terms of, so your last game, you didn't know it was your last game?
No, it wasn't. Well, I didn't plan for it to be my last game, but it was like when I was called to go on, I wouldn't have been able to produce. It was too painful to go and do it. So I had to say to Colin, no, I can't go.
So your game before though, your last actual appearance, you didn't know that was your. Same as me. Mine was Atletico Madrid. Obviously, the last friendly we had before the debut Premier League season, and I didn't play again after that. I didn't know that was my last game, which is probably the hardest bit for me to take. Really, you give so much to football for 20 odd years as a professional, and then so much as a kid, and it's hard. It's bad to take. You don't get closed on it really. But listen, it is what it is. At the end of the day.
Did you two expect to end up together at Brighton again? Did you ever really discuss that when you were together?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. I mean, in the back of my mind, it was always a dream to go back there and finish off. And towards the end of my career and seeing where Brighton were in the Championship and their progression, it was, wow, can I get promoted every division club? That was, in the back of my mind. And to miss out goal difference last game of the season to Middlesbrough was a real kick in the teeth, really. Although I only played a small part, it would have been the part that to promoted up into every division. That would have been very, very nice. But didn't plan to link up with Sid. But obviously, again, super agent Bob, when I was knocking on the door, make sure that City comes along. And again, like I say, it's not a hard sell, is it, for managers? You know, they know exactly what they're going to get from Sid on and off the pitch.
It's mad because you look at it and you think, like me in terms of professional career, obviously started at Brentford where I got a chance from Steve Coppell, and then the following season, I mean, that was the season that Brighton went up as champions from League One to the Championship, and then obviously the following season I come. But to go full circle and then finish my career at Brighton, I mean, during your career, it's never black and white. You don't know where you're going to end up and down the country. But to finish it at Brighton and the way we sort of done it as well, creating a bit of history of taking the club to the top flight and being involved in that final push was a nice on the cake, really, for me. It was a nice way to finish it as well.
He's not rubbing that in, Bobby, by the way.
Yeah, no, he got that straight in, didn't he? Yeah.
But to be like, you look at Bob's career, he's like, I remember with Bob's, right, and a lot of people know this and a lot of people don't, but he was always like, yeah, football's all right. Like, deep down, he loved it. He always loved football, but he'd always have this sort of persona where he wasn't too fussed by it, and games were just games. And then when we got towards the end of our careers, I used to say to him, listen, you need to start taking this all in because it's going to finish one day and you're going to realise how much you've achieved. And he was like, nah, it is what it is. And I was like, we don't look back at Bob's career, played for England, full international, played an FA Cup final, played in a European Cup final, scored 2 winners in playoff finals, played in Europe, but that amazing cup run. He's had a top career. And I think it's only now that he probably looks back at it and sort of with an achievement, really. Whereas when you're in that bubble, you just sort of in game mode, aren't you, all the time, and just take it for granted.
Is that a fair point, Bobby?
Yeah, I think so. It's, yeah, like you say, only now looking back, you think, you know what I mean? I was never, I know I've got a couple of shirts up behind me, but I was never a collector of shirts or anything like that. Never, ever. It was only towards the end of my career. I'd only ask friends for shirts or like, Thierry Henry. I mean, the ones around here are pretty much people I know.
Name dropping. This is high, name dropping the highest order.
Yeah, but I don't actually have too many shirts that from playing in games or anything like that, really. But some fantastic memories, and yeah, I've only got them on DVD now as memories. Anything else is gone, but that's history. That's life, isn't it?
I've got one more question for both of you, then we'll open up to the fans that are waiting patiently. You've both played, so Bobby, I'll go with you first. You've both played at Withdean and you both played at the Amex. What side of your Albion career is your favourite? Is it the time that you played with us at Withdean or at the Amex?
Withdean for me, of course. The whole those years, those promotions, that changing room, the boys, the antics, and just as a young lad as well, growing up, just absolutely fantastic. I mean, dragging the assistant manager through puddles, you know, stripping his clothes off and dragging him through puddle. I mean, those were, and I mean, I'm like a 19-year-old lad turning up to a club in January or whenever it was, and seeing that, it was just unbelievable. Just real good time standing at Withdean, and obviously won a lot of games, scored a lot of goals, and turned over a lot of big teams as well. Those Wolves, that Portsmouth side that was on absolutely flying under Harry. So some good performances and memories there. And I know that teams used to turn up to Withdean and look at it, athletics track, and getting changed in porter cabins and all of that. And to us, it was home, and I absolutely loved it, scoring goals there and creating so many fantastic memories, you know. So it was that first period for me.
Steve?
I think I've got to agree with Bob's, to be fair.
Despite the promotion?
I mean, that day itself, no, you're right. I think that day, that promotion...
Change his mind.
No.
If you say something, he'll change it back.
No. That promotion day was was unreal. And I'm lucky enough to obviously done it before with Reading, but that actual one, I mean, my Withdean days, as I say, I was over there for 11 games. So, I mean, I think, what did I go in October to January? So it was only a couple of months, really, 2 or 3 months. So that went pretty quick. But that kind of put me on the map. So it was special. But again, it was like I was a 19-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid that I grew up in them times as well. But I think you're right. Out of the 2 spells, I think the promotion day tops it. Not just the day, the game, but the party as well after, definitely.
And
that was this time a couple of years ago, yeah.
3 years ago, wasn't it? It was at the anniversary the other day.
Yeah, I see that. I see it on the Instagram.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I was gutted as well, to be fair, because I remember the gaffer. I wasn't in the squad that day. And I remember the gaffer pulling me in beforehand, saying, "Look, you're not on the bench. Obviously, it was an odd decision, blah blah blah." And I remember sort of having words with him. Really, we had a kind of a row because I knew obviously we was going to win that day, and it was going to be a kind of a party promotion kind of day. And he was like, "Yeah, but it's not going to be. There's going to be no celebrations. There's going to be no drinking tonight. It's going to." And I'm thinking, this fella don't know his squad at all. So yeah, but obviously the game went on, and I remember just seeing him go on the dugout, and then obviously when all the fans come on, and that was it. You know, they went back in, and the beers were spraying, and yeah, the rest is history. How you doing, Paul? You all right?
Hi, Sid. So, Bobby, I've got quite a few questions,
man.
but I better not ask them all. One jovial one and then serious one. The jovial one is, name 2 ex-Brighton teammates you would not mind being in lockdown with, and one which would be a nightmare. And the second part of the question was really just interested in the best manager you played for and who's been the biggest influence on your career.
Oh, wow.
Wow. All right. So I wouldn't mind being locked down with Sid for what he's one of them. Another one. Wow, Sid, you.
I was going to say Chazza, but I mean, can you take 2
No, it'd be good for a little while.
2 days.
I mean, he's texting me at the minute, Chaz. Like, do you know what I mean? Every day there's something, and it's them silly videos and all sorts. So, yeah, I don't think you'd be able to with him after a while. Yeah. I don't. Who else would there be?
I'm not sure about that.
Who was sensible? You
need a joker, didn't you? It was a big joker. It was one of the bigger jokers around. We'll come back to that. One at least probably might be
Chaz.
Might be Chazza then, least likely.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be most lethal. I think so. Chaz not to be. And then the other second question was
influence.
Yep.
Influence.
Best.
Are you talking Brighton, or are you talking in general? Anyone?
In general.
Do you know what? Someone asked me this question the other day, and I've been quite lucky in terms of the managers that I've had. They've all been fantastic. Genuinely, they've all been really, really good, and I've taken something from all of them. I mean, obviously, Ian Holloway, who's a hell of a character, and that enthusiasm is so infectious. Mickey Adams, obviously, give me the opportunity and was regimented, and Steve Coppell, Peter Taylor, and Hoddle. Bloody hell, yeah. Roy Hodgson. But I played with Roy just because of the time I had at Fulham, the belief that he had in me, just the fantastic run that we had as a team, really. And he's got probably the best out of me, and he moulded the team in some respects around me and the way that I played. So Roy probably was my most influential coach. Yeah.
I'll probably go
drop it in.
I'll probably go Steve Coppell. No, I'll probably go Steve Coppell, to be fair. Yeah. Like, Cops he was the one that gave me my chance, took me out of Arsenal as a young, 18-year-old at Brentford, done a season there. Then it obviously took me to Brighton, where I wanted to stay, but obviously the Reading thing happened, and obviously he come to Reading after that. But he had like a kind of a knack just of the sort of the way you make me feel like, you know, it was just felt. He come alive 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock on a Saturday, Monday to Friday. Let the coaches coach, but on a Saturday, this is where you went out and you played for him. And and if you didn't play well, you felt like you really let him down, which is the worst thing for me anyway. I felt if I felt like I let someone down, that was the worst thing for him. So yeah, Steve.
I remember him coming into Brighton and doing, you know, like the videos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd not seen that before, and him coming in and doing a video sort of analysis on a Friday. Not as in depth now as it is now, but
he done it by himself, didn't he? He didn't have to do analysis.
Yeah.
He used to have VHS. I remember him telling me he used to have like 3 stacks of VHS tapes, and he used to just put it in and record games and do it all by himself. Mad.
Yeah, he was good when he was. I suppose he was ahead of the game. I suppose on that front.
Yeah. Hi guys,
Tim, you all right?
This is my boy.
Man.
His name is Elliot Bobby Ayling.
Oh, go on.
You all right? Good lad.
Sorry, Steve.
Who wants to be a Steve?
He's got a couple of questions for you.
Who was your footballing idol as a kid?
And
Say that again.
Footballing idol.
Footballing idol. Go on, Sid.
Growing up, I loved Ian Wright, to be fair. I know it's bad probably saying it because obviously he's Crystal Palace, so it's not really a good one to say. But not that I'm even a striker or anything like that, but I just love Wrighty. I love his character, his charisma, and obviously I see him when I was at Arsenal and been lucky enough to socialise and work with him as well. And he's just a vibrant person. But I just love how he was on a football pitch. Just used to have like no cares in the world. So excited. Every goal that he scored was a celebration. So yeah, he was one for me in my early days. Other than that, it had been Paul Gascoigne as well, growing up.
For me, who is it? I'm going to say Maradona for me, Diego Maradona. I remember waking up on like Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings. I had a VHS of Maradona, and it tells us him as a little boy, and it has a little bit of footage, and then it goes into his career. And I used to watch it on a Saturday morning, having my breakfast, and then go and play a game on a Saturday, and then the same on a Sunday as well. Really, so Maradona was my sort of idol, I suppose. But Ian Wright, again, English one, just that character, that guy scoring goals as well was fantastic.
Who's the best player you played with and against?
Oh, played against. That's hard. I'd say against when Paul Scholes was up there in terms of direct competition, but the years when he was on fire, Cristiano Ronaldo, that the 2 years, I think it was before he went to Madrid, I think he scored 40 goals and 38, and he was just unstoppable, wasn't he? He was putting free kicks in the top corner. I mean, he was going down the wings. He was just a speed demon going down the wings. He was flying. So Ronaldo was the toughest one to play against. Playing with, it could be any one of the Chelsea lads, really. I mean, Drogba on his day was just, a match winner. John Terry, captain, behind obviously when he played, led the team. But I think Frank Lampard just tops him, really, just by his work ethic and how he trained every single day as a top professional, and what he achieved in the game, all the numbers and the goals. That's no fluke. That's all down to hard work.
For me, I played with some real talented players. Played with a guy called Stefan Dalmat. He was unbelievable. I think he played for like Inter Milan, PSG, but he was a lunatic, absolute lunatic. So never made it anywhere. Do you know what I mean? He was so gifted, a bit like Adel Taarabt as well. Unbelievable ability, but just something, wasn't focused enough. But the player that stands out for me to play with and against, I mean, I was lucky I played with him a few times and was in quite a few squads with England, Steven Gerrard. he was the one player that stood out above everybody there. Wayne Rooney, Frank Lampard, all those guys that were there in that squad playing and training with them. And just Steven Gerrard just seemed to be at another level above. And obviously he killed me. FA Cup final, I'm stood right behind him as he scores that goal in extra time. But Steven Gerrard for me, to play with and against just was something special. Just watching him in awe at times. I remember playing against Liverpool and watching him in awe. Same as Paul Scholes as well. Unbelievable.
Bobby, when you hear the tune Zamora, do you think that's my song? And Steve, when you hear You're Just Too Good to Be True, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You, do you think that's my song? And finally, Steve, talk us through that goal from the halfway line.
Well, you might as well get Bob Gee's answer out first, because I'll be talking all night long about that goal.
Cool. Remember the time, mate. Yes, the song. It makes me think of the first time. That Withdean era for me. Those promotions and just brings back good memories. Really, I know it's gone to a lot of clubs and gone round to a lot of clubs as well, but it certainly reminds me of Brighton, the Withdean, and those very, very special years. So, without a shadow of a doubt, it's a Brighton song.
I'll talk about the goal first, because it deserves a lot of time, doesn't it? No, I'm joking. That goal, I've seen it so many times before. I look back on it, and it was just a part of what was meant to be from that season. I'd experienced a promotion before that with Reading, so I could feel all these little ingredients that was happening, that it was just a part of a story that was just always going to happen. And that one, obviously, with Knockhart's father passing away, and the sad time it was at the moment, because obviously he was a big character in the dressing room, and we missed him for that sort of week or 10 days. And then that game, we just said that whoever scores, we're going to run over and hold the shirt up. And it was obviously a fitting goal, for that occasion. But I remember just looking at the keeper off his line a few times before, and I thought, if it comes to me, I'm just going to go for it. And then I remember I can remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, ball just come, touched on my left foot, and just bang, just walloped it. And I knew it was in as soon as it left my foot. I knew it was in. And it was just a brilliant feeling, like an unreal feeling, to be fair. I can't believe it's been knocked out of the leaderboard already on the goal team. But there we go.
Unreal. Pucker. What a goal.
The song, what can I say about the song? Yeah, I love it. It's a good song.
Pretty young thing, ain't you, eh?
The boys, I've got 4 kids, and the boys was coming to the games as well, and they was laughing their heads off and that. So, special times, and it's a funny one when I'm walking down the road and someone sings it out of their van. So, there we go.
My question is for Steve, actually. You mentioned your media work earlier on.
Yeah.
I was just wondering, are there? Do you see the game differently as a pundit than you did as a player? Are there things that you're seeing or picking up through that work that you wish you'd seen as a player about other teams or other players?
Yeah.
And if so, are you able to feed that back into your academy work as kind of hints and tips for Brighton players?
Yeah, really good question, actually. I mean, for me, the biggest change for me was when I started doing my coaching badges, actually, because I was still doing that when I was playing towards the end of my career. And as soon as I'd done that, that is when you start looking at it from a different way. I mean, not even watching our games or playing in our games, even just watching football, you take your eye off the ball, you're looking at shapes, formations, why is he not tucking in, he should be doing this. And that was the biggest change for me. The punditry stuff, it's pretty easy, because it's kind of like what we got now on this Zoom. You're watching a game, but then you've got all these screens around you from different angles as well that you can pick up on. So the screen that you obviously watch a game on is very much different to the analysts. What they watch it, they will look it on from a big camera at the top of the stadium, so you can see the whole pitch, every player, where they are. and you can pick up on things much, much easier. Hence why coaching staff now, it's not, obviously, I mean, these days are long gone. It's not just a manager and assistant manager. You've got them and a coach on the bench, and then you've got obviously all the analysis, and it might be a goalkeeper coach up in the high in the stands watching the games and feeding back live commentary or live tactics to the guys on the bench with the earpieces on. So football's evolving more and more and more. But what I've noticed now, more so with the academy lads, and more society, is that a lot of kids these days don't really watch full games. Like I used to love watching football, whereas kids nowadays they're more about watching like the instant clicks or just the goals or just the highlights. They won't sort of sit and watch games and examine players. And that's what I try to drive into them, really, to try and take their eye off the ball, don't follow the ball, watch their position, watch the runs that they're making, things like that.
Hi guys. First of all, I just want to thank you both for all the efforts and the pleasure, your efforts you made for the club and the pleasure you gave me over the years. I'm involved these days with a lot of grassroots football, and I just wondered for both of you really, what was the one bit of advice you were given by a coach as you were going up through the system that you valued most?
Well, it wasn't given to me, but it was given to a player. Get it and give it to the good players. Best bit of advice. It's just hard work, really. I mean, I know it's really corny, but you get out of it what you put in. You really do. Kid, I mean, I remember, just going and kicking the ball against the wall for hours on end, like only like 5-10 yards on the pavement outside the front of my house. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Like, honestly, I'm surprised there ain't a hole in the wall, really. The amount of times I used to hit the ball, and there's no substitute for it, really. Repetitions, practice. I mean, I've got an image of both my playoff final winning goals, and when they're freeze framed, you know, the image, you could overlay each other, and it's identical. And that is just pure repetitions of finishing for years and years and years, and the technique and drills and everything is just drilled into your muscle memory, and ultimately both of them have ended up getting, you know, 2 clubs promotion, and that has just come from hard work and repetitions, and like I say, there's no substitute, I don't think, for coach just saying to just work hard and practice and focus on your game, really.
Yeah, I'd echo that, really. I mean, you've seen the top players now like Gerrard repeat it as well. Talent will only get you so far, but you just got to be hard working, and you got to just work at your game, work at the basics, work on your strengths, work on your weaknesses, and just keep it going. I just remember being in the garden all the time when I was growing up. You know, Mum would come out dinner. I'd be like, "Listen, leave me alone. Just, you know, another half hour, another hour. Just keep going, keep going." You need a little bit of luck. Obviously, you need your breaks, and then obviously when you get your chance, you got to take it. There's going to be setbacks along the way, but I totally agree with Bob's. What you put in is what you'll get out. Nothing is given to you, especially in football. It is a brutal, brutal industry, especially the higher you go up.
I think it's harder now. Even harder now, even harder to get that break and that opportunity. And like I say, the way that you can improve your odds is just hard work and hours and putting it in, really. No out and out advice, because like I say, I worked with fantastic coaches. In general, no coach has said one thing that stands out. I've taken some pieces from every coach I've worked with from a kid onwards, you know, but ultimately it comes down to actually taking on board what the coaches say. So when they're talking, do listen, because I know that. I mean, I've coached a few kids, and you can tell the ones that are listening and the ones that aren't listening. So I probably listen as well. Really, just when they talk, yeah, you can have a laugh and a joke, and I loved having a laugh and a joke, and even into my last couple of years, all messing about and having a giggle. But when it was time to listen, I switched on like that and take it on board, go away, process it, carry on with having a laugh and a joke and enjoying your football and your surroundings.
Hi, Jeds.
Hi,
Brett.
All right. This is a question for Bobby, really. Sorry, Steve.
That's all right, mate. Go for it.
I've got 2 favourite Bobby Zamora goals, which I was at, and I can't decide which is my favourite. So I want to know which is your favourite. So the first one was Bury away, 2001-ish. And the second one was Huddersfield at the Amex. And both of them made...
Oh, yeah.
I can't...
Both good goals. The first one... we had, me and Bozzy, I think, had actually worked on or going short and spinning long. So it just worked out. It's mad that, obviously you practice and it just worked out so well. The centre half would come short and I'd span behind. And a bit like Sid, when you take a touch and you look up and you see that keeper, is off his line, it's like, red rag to a ball, really. And go on and just having the confidence to take it on. But that was a nice goal. But the Huddersfield one was great as well, because I was defending a corner, cleared it from a corner, and I think that it was either their centre midfielder or centre half at the time, which just blocked me, I think, as previously, just sort of nudged me. And I remember, it's going to sound weird, but not busting a gut to go and score the goal. It was to make him run, make the defender run, because I know he had to chase me. And I loved strides anyway. I loved those long strides, big long legs. He used to ground at times, and just wanted to make him suffer a little bit. Busted a gut and got up there actually really, really pretty fast. And Anthony, who obviously has that ability to find you, put a great ball across, and just the connection was all right. It wasn't as perfect as I wanted, but it beat the keeper. I think I probably surprised the goalkeeper as well. So in terms of my favourite, I'm going to say Bury.
Good shout.
Wait. Firstly, where am I?
I'm afraid to say, Bobby, but you were actually more expensive than these two, so I got these two.
Cheap version. I can't believe I've come on the cheap side.
You and Tomer, I'm afraid, Stevie. So that's why you're not there, I'm afraid. It was a question for both of you, really. What's next? I mean, Steve, you talked about media work. You talked about the youth coaching and stuff. Can we see you on the bench at some time soon? And Bobby, what are you up to now, and what's next for you? Have you ever been tempted by coaching or anything, management?
In terms of myself, the longer it goes on, I think the more I wouldn't mind a dabble at it, but I do enjoy my time. I do enjoy my time with the family. If I could pick a perfect role, it would be 2 days a week as a striker coach. So as a young player at Bristol Rovers, I was very lucky that I had a guy called Gary Thompson, and then we also had Gary Penrice, who was small, quick, agile, very, very clever. And the strikers, we used to go away. Me, Barry Hells, Curitan, Jason Roberts, Nathan Ellington, some real good strikers. We used to go away 3 days out of the 4-day week. Really, we were on the training pitch, just go and do striking, like runs and finishing and different drills. That is the reason that those strikers, myself included, have gone on and were sold for good money, and gone on to another level, because the amount of practice, like I say, the repetitions in a very specific, unique, specialised position, I think, pays dividends to having a specialised coach. So if I was to pick a role, it would be that. But I don't think that they're about to be off, unfortunately.
Myself, I would. I'm in a bit of a jam at the moment, really, because I'm sort of stuck right between it. I mean, I'm enjoying both sides of it, really enjoying it. I mean, the media side is brilliant in terms of meeting people and experiencing different studios and different games and watching it from different point of view. But I do love the football side of it. I love the coaching. I always wanted to start in the academy, and lucky I said before that Brighton gave me an opportunity to do that. I've learned loads mistakes already, things that enjoy, things that things that I could do better at. And the task is hopefully to start climbing the ladder, whether that be at Brighton or at another club, depends on what opportunities are out there. But there will become probably a time where I will have to pick what avenue to go down, and that might be sooner rather than later, maybe in the off season, possibly. So, but I think on the basis of both of them, I think I'd like to stay in football really and really give that a crack, especially at first team level as well.
So it's a bit of a serious one, unfortunately, but in reference to sort of the comments Matt Hancock made the other day, John Nicholson wrote a really interesting interview with a Premier League player who talked about how he donates 100% of his wages after tax. I was wondering if you had any knowledge if that was commonplace. I know, Bobby, you've done a huge amount of work with the sort of housing development stuff with you and Mark Noble and a couple of other guys. But I was just wondering, because I feel football has had a bit of a bad rap over the past few weeks, and whether you guys have any thoughts on that.
In terms of the amount of money that players, I think it does bug me a little bit that people dig out players a bit and Wayne Rooney for earning X or whatever it may be. You've got to remember that 45% of that weekly wage goes straight to the government. So when you take the Premier League's wages and you take 45% of that, and that goes back into the government. So I think, yes, players get paid a lot of money, they do, but then I do put a lot of money back into society, and I think that's one thing that people do have to take on board, and it's not like that in a lot of other countries. They're I know in Italy you can pay a couple $100,000 and you're net. You only have to pay a couple $100,000 a year, and you are net for that year. So, in terms of players and what they do for charities, I mean, everybody, all the players that I know, everybody does something. You may not hear about it. We're not looking for headlines or anything like that. Genuinely, the majority of lads that I know that do a lot of work for charity are not bothered about click or a like or whatever it may be. They're doing it for the right reasons. But in general, like I say, I think it's like something like £7 billion a year it goes into to the government from the Premier League, and just wages alone. So it's a mad amount of money. And listen, all the guys that I know, Sid included, with all of this, the COVID-19 virus that's going around, everybody's trying to do their bit to raise funds for so many different charities, and people don't have to do it. People don't have to. They genuinely don't. But the lads.
You're right in what you're saying. You're right there. He's saying about footballers get a bad rep, and a lot of people out there they don't really care about us in terms of what they earn. Well, in terms of the personal side of it, they just look at footballer and what they earn. But just repeat what Bobby said there. Loads of people, even in this in this crisis, has given loads to charity. And again, that's not all just put through social media by seeing it. That's through people not even putting it out there that they've been doing it at all. So that's just not going for now. That's just been even before this all started, and it'll be the same as when this is finished. You know, what players do give back. Not all of them. I won't say all of them because not all of them do, but the majority, 100%, do loads of work for the community, for charities, and things close to their heart. So they do get a bad rap. I will admit that.
A question that I've got for you guys: what's your biggest regrets as players in terms of things you could have fulfilled and haven't done? I've got another question for you afterwards, if I can chuck that in quickly as well.
Oh wow, regret.
My regret was not going to the World Cup. I played at Fulham. We're in that 2010 season where we had a fantastic European run, and was struggling with my Achilles tendon. Fabio Capello, Franco Baldini is number 2. Were on the phone to me, on the phone to the club. Obviously, we had the European final, so we finished quite a bit later. And I needed to have the operation really on my Achilles, and but they were also wanting me to go to the World Cup, and I decided to have the operation on my Achilles, let it heal over the summer, so I could play. But ultimately, looking back now, I probably should have gone to the World Cup. I chose not to because if I was injured and knowing how I was training, I wouldn't have trained. If I wasn't training, would I have been picked? No. If I was just there on the treatment table every day in South Africa, and there was the 23 other players, were, you know, Bobby's here. What's he doing? He's not really contributing. Ultimately, if I weren't training, I wouldn't have played, and so I just decided to do that. But looking back now, I should have probably experienced the World Cup from the stand.
My one quickly would probably be when I signed for Villa, and I did that. That was a real chance, a real platform to really kick on in my career. And down to a few issues, a few personal ones, a few family ones that happened at the time, and not really performing on the pitch. I never fulfilled my time there at all whatsoever. And that was a real platform for me, especially then because Villa, we was going for Champions League football, top 4 football after a few seasons as well. And I never really fulfilled my potential there. So that was probably a down point in my career.
I guess first, Bobby, I was lucky enough to come to my first Brighton game in 2016, and you were the goal scorer of that game. So definitely special place in my heart for that. So
what game was it?
It's Blackburn away.
Oh yeah,
red jersey.
It was on my birthday, January 16th.
It was on your birthday. Yep.
1-0. Yes.
Yep. So that was one hell of a day. But two, I guess, for both of you, looking back in your careers from when you first signed with Brighton, and then looking at Brighton now, are you kind of surprised at how far the team has come in the years since, or did you kind of know this was maybe not so fast, but this was something that was going to happen? We were going to be in the Premier League. The Amex is going to be quite what it is. All that.
Well, when I first signed, obviously Dick Knight was in charge of the club, and obviously the Bloom family were there as directors and involved heavily. And I remember when I actually signed permanently, obviously saying that at the time we were at the Withdean, and we're going to have our own ground, and it's going to be fantastic, and we're going to grow the club, and and yes, it seems a bit of a pipe dream, but it seemed a dream that was achievable, and certainly the momentum and how we were playing and the leaps that we were taking year on year, it seemed achievable. So, but to actually do it, be there in the Premier League with a fantastic stadium now, obviously credit goes to Dick and that era of management, and also Tony, Darren, and the guys now who run the club incredibly well, and put a lot of their hard-earned personal money into the club to make sure that the progression continues. So it seemed like a dream, but it's now a reality. So it's fantastic.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll just touch on that quickly. I mean, the infrastructure that the club's got, I mean, it's unbelievable. I see it from an academy level. And what Bob said there, Tony Darren, the board, the club is in real good hands. I know there's uncertain times at the moment, but the way that this club is run, it deserves to be where it is. And I'm sure if the lads keep doing what they're doing on the pitch, there'll be an established Premier League team certainly within the next few years.
Right, lads. I had to ask about Palace, and do players appreciate how much the fans actually care about that game? And as players, do you treat it any differently to a game versus any other team?
I mean, derbies are derbies. I mean, it's always for the fans. Doesn't matter what club that I've been at. It doesn't drive you on personally to win the game more. It might do if you're born and bred. Like, for instance, Dunkey obviously is a born and bred Brighton player, knows it from day one. But as a player, you just go out and you got a professional head on, really. You just go out to win the game, 100%. That's purely what you're going out to do, to win. Yeah, the emotions can run higher than normal. But, it sounds a bit boring and a bit cliche, but you just go out to be professional and just win the game and let the fans really go out and enjoy it, hopefully, when the team's winning, and have the bragging rights throughout the season.
Yeah, exactly that. Derby games are huge, and about it. Obviously I played for West Ham, the team that I supported, and there are plenty of derbies, just the London derbies in general. And it's more, can you get the new lads, the foreign boys, to grasp how important it is? Because ultimately, the more you have that are bought into it, it turns into a numbers game. There's a little bit more riding on it. There's a little bit more edge. But ultimately, sometimes, as soon as that whistle goes and that first tackles, someone gets smashed, it opens everybody's eyes, and everyone takes it serious. And the likes of City, they love those games. They truly love them. Brilliant. I've got a license. I've probably got 2-3 tackles I can get away with absolutely clattering somebody. The referee will put it down to it being a London derby or a South derby or whatever it may be.
Bobby, first of all, I sponsored your home kit in your final season.
Oh, wow.
But sadly couldn't get down to the dinner. And Russell, who asked you a question just a few moments ago, went in my place. So hi, and I enjoyed...
Thank you very much for sponsoring the shirt. Thank you very much. Did you get a signed copy?
I did indeed, and I've still got it, so that's great. A very quick question to both of you. We've heard about your memorable goals, but what would you consider the best team performance by the club in your time at Brighton, for each of you? The one match that you think that was a great team performance.
For me, Wolves at home at the Withdean, obviously in the Championship. Wolves were obviously a huge club and had some real big players at the time as well. Jolyon Lescott, Matt Murray was in goal. And beating them 4-1 at the Withdean, totally dominating and shocking them. That probably was the most standout game for me, performance-wise, scoring, and just being part of that team that dominated a very big, well-established team.
I think in recent times, for me, one that springs to mind was the Norwich game at home. I think it was 5-0 in the promotion season, and I think that was just a game that laid down a marker really to Norwich first of all, and to the rest of the league. I think we absolutely battered them from start to finish. We've done them 5, and everyone played their part, and it was, as I say, it was a real marker down to everyone to say, this is going to be our season.